For centuries, men have sought answers to the great mysteries of the universe and the origins of mankind. They've gone to great heights and dove to the darkest depths. Yet one question remains.
Hey, Dad, how did we get ice cream?
Yeah, how did we get ice cream? Hi, I'm Dave, and we're here to find the answer to that question. So let's ask the expert.
This boy or girl just was playing in the snow, and they had the ingredients in their pocket.
Ice cream. Well, that's a good question.
Spaceman. The clouds. And then the next day, they saw something that looked like food, and they picked it up.
Oh, it's Blue Bunny.
Yeah, I don't know.
Put flavor and then put it in the freezer. I think it came from Boston.
Many years ago in a foreign country.
Some guy in Iceland froze cream.
And this little baby sticks his finger in and ate it.
Probably back in the 1880s with the gold rush or something.
60s.
George Washington discovered it.
Probably in the 1800s.
The Pilgrims. I'm not really sure, you know.
I have no idea.
Probably some cold stuff and cream and like that.
And then they put flavor. And then he puts it in a big ice cream bucket. Says Blue Bunnies.
Well, I think we'll have to go back a little in time to find the real answer. No, farther. Wait. Hey, that's Fred H. Wells. He's important, but that's for later. Further back. Farther than that. Oh, there. As early as 200 BC, there are sketchy reports that the ancient Chinese mixed snow with milk and rice. Close, but no fortune cookie. But it was back in the mid-50s that, wrong costume, we're talking AD 50. Thank you. Anyway, in the mid-50s AD, Nero Claudius Caesar really got people running for more, literally. Nero was known to have sent runners into the mountains for snow, which was then flavored with honey, juices, and fruit. I think he also created the salad dip, didn't he? Hey! I guess that wasn't the script.
Then came the Dark Ages.
Probably because they had no ice cream. Until Marco Polo returned from the Far East with a recipe for a frozen dessert which included milk, and as far as we can tell today, resembled modern sherbet. The popularity of ices and sherbets grew in Italy and probably evolved into ice cream sometime in the 16th century. One description written in 1560 refers to a food from milk, which is made of milk sweetened with honey and frozen. Some persons call it the flower of milk. Some call it cream. If flower of milk was not ice cream, it certainly was close. While ice cream was met with crowning success in the royal courts of Europe, a manuscript describing the coronation of Henry V, King of England, mentions a banquet delicacy called crème fraise. And by the 17th century, cream ice appeared regularly at the table of King Charles I. He was so taken with the frozen treat that he supposedly paid the French chef who introduced it to him a yearly pension of 20 pounds sterling to keep the formula secret. But the king soon lost his head, and the chef sold the secret to a group of noblemen. Although it was becoming common in regal circles, it wasn't until 1670 when the Café Procope opened in Paris that ice cream and sherbet were available to the common folk. By the late 1600s, the newly formed American colonies had gotten their first taste of ice cream, and by 1776, the nation's first ice cream parlor was opened in New York City. America had declared its political independence, and at nearly the same time, the father of our country was making it clear that his inalienable right to the pursuit of happiness included ice cream. In George Washington's home in Mount Vernon were found 2 pewter ice cream pots and the record of an ice cream merchant in New York indicating that in the summer of 1790, the president ran up an ice cream tab of almost $200. Although it was a favorite of presidents that followed, it wasn't until Dolly Madison, wife of the 4th U.S. president, that ice cream was served at a state dinner at the White House. The early 1800s brought a radical development, the insulated ice house. This brought about ice harvesting and the ability to store ice for long periods of time. Soon, ice cream parlors began appearing in major cities. This new ice age ushered in another ice cream institution, the street vendor. By the summer of 1828, some rather loud fellows could be heard on the streets of New York shouting, "Ice cream! Ice cream!" The next major development of the 19th century was through the innovation of the woman who invented the hand-cranked ice cream freezer. After 1846, Nancy Johnson's invention made vast improvements over earlier methods and truly made it possible for the average citizen to really crank out the ice cream. One popular magazine of the time called ice cream a necessity of life, saying a party without it would be like breakfast without bread or a dinner without roast. By now, the stage was set for the birth of a full-fledged ice cream industry. In 1851, a Baltimore milk dealer, Jacob Fussell, had too much of a good thing, an oversupply of cream. But he soon discovered it could be made into lots of ice cream and be sold for a mere 25 cents a quart. Everyone else was selling very small quantities for 65 cents. Fussell quickly found his ice cream business more profitable than milk. He lost no time in converting his entire plant to the production of ice cream and became the first full-fledged manufacturer/wholesaler in the field. By 1856, Fussell set up another plant in Washington, followed by one in Boston, and finally in New York. And a partner spread the industry to Cincinnati, Chicago, and St. Louis.